Alexa, turn on the lights. Alexa? What? We take power for granted until it's gone. The recent California wildfires, they had me sitting in the dark for days. I couldn't get any work done, my food was going bad, and I even had to limit how much I used my smartphone. The first thought that came to mind was, man, I wish I had one of those big Anker power stations as a home backup solution. Well, now I do. Meet the Anker SOLIX F3800 Plus. It's the battery that will make me the envy of town. I just moved up here to the mountains, and while it is gorgeous, I quickly found out that power outages were very common, and that's because of the forest, right? It's a high-risk area for fires. Add the California wildfires to it and strong winds, and I was struggling to catch a charge for weeks. That will no longer be a problem because now this big guy here, it has a 3,840 watt-hour battery capacity. To put that into perspective, it's enough to charge a phone over 460 times. I don't have time to test that, but I can tell you that it can run all my kitchen appliances, like my fridge, my kettle, my microwave, and also my essentials like my laptop, my modem, my router, all of those for over 24 hours. So as you can see, we got plenty of port options over here. You got a car socket port, you've got 3 USB-C ports, and 2 USB-A ones. These can charge at 100 watts, which means they're good enough for charging any laptop, or at least most laptops, any tablet for sure, or any smartphone. And over here, we have the 2 USB-A ports, which each can handle 12 watts. That's good enough for earbuds, for smartwatches, or any other small accessory. But if you really want to unleash the beast, we've got 6 AC outlets here, and you can plug in your electronics directly to them. These can output as much as 2,400 watts on their own. And see these weird ports up here? I didn't even know these existed until recently. These are the powerful ones. This one can reach 3,000 watts, and this one can reach 6,000 watts and up to 240 volts. So these more powerful ports can actually power your home directly, or you can even power RVs directly. You can also use them for other appliances like washers and dryers and such. They can even charge your electric vehicle. Imagine if you have an electric vehicle, how else are you going to charge your car during an outage? These AC outlets though would be the most valuable to me during a power outage. A big problem during the outages was that my food was going bad, right? That was my main concern really with these outlets. I could just plug my fridge directly in here and keep it running for a long time. But I would also use it to work, right? So I would use it to power my laptop, to power my modem, to power my router. So if the grid takes a day off, or 2, or maybe even more sometimes, this guy could keep me going for days. But the fun doesn't end right here. Our friends at Anker also sent us a couple of expansion packs. Oh, these are heavy. Each one of these guys has an extra 3,840 watt hours of power. So the same battery capacity as this one. That means that if this one can keep me going for 24 hours or more, all 3 of them together can keep me going for up to 3 days or more off the grid. That will come in very handy because there were a few times during the power outages that the power went away for like 2 or 3 days. So that means I could continue working and do everything that I need to do, even during the longest power outages we had. If you really want to go all out and store a bunch of battery, you could get 2 of these units, the F3800 Plus, and connect them together and get a max output of 12,000 watts. Then you could get a bunch of these little ones and all together store as much as 53.8 thousand watt hours. Man, that would be enough to keep me going for like 2 or 3 weeks. So far, these 3 units are more than enough for me. But if an outage manages to last longer than your stored battery power, we also have solar panels. These are quite something too, and people who want to go off the grid will love them. We have 2 panels here, 410 watts each, but this machine can support up to 2 inputs of 165 volts each. That means it can support up to 3,200 watts of solar panel input. And even if you go for the portable solar panels that Anker sells for the F3800 Plus, those can also reach 3,200 watts of input. This means my batteries will continue recharging when the sun is out, and I don't have to rely on the city to keep my energy going or not. I can store about 3 days of battery here. But with solar charging, the outage could extend to maybe 4, 5, depending on how sunny it is, right? But what happens if the sun decides to take a day off too? Well, this thing plays nicely with any 240 volt gas generator. That means that if the grid goes down, you've got some juice in the battery and you've got the solar panels. If the sun's not out, then you resort to a gas generator. And while connected to the generator, this can still output up to 6,000 watts, which is its max output, and continue recharging itself at the same time. How much can 6,000 watts handle? Well, that actually is enough to run most home appliances out there. I know everything I own personally would not reach 6,000 watts. I have my kettle, my microwave, and my air fryer. Those are the most power hungry ones at about 1,000 watts each. Then I have all my other devices. Those are like 100 watts or less. If I was using the 240 volt port right here, I would actually be able to run everything simultaneously. But since I'm only using the AC outlets, I'm limited to 2,400 watts, which means I can only run 1 or 2 of these high power machines at once. Which, I mean, I don't mind. I'm happy to run my appliances at all during an emergency or an outage. So when this thing finally runs out of juice and it's time to recharge, you can actually do it pretty fast. If you max out the panel input, you can recharge it in as fast as 1.5 hours just using solar panels. But if you plug it into the wall, it can charge as fast as 2.7 hours. That is still pretty fast to me. I remember there were days during the outages when I would have like half a day of grid electricity, and that would give me more than enough time to charge this completely. If you want the whole home power backup solution, you will want to get the Anker SOLIX home power panel. This power panel installs into your home electrical wiring system, and then you can plug this one into it. The system will detect whenever there is an outage and switch to battery power automatically in 20 milliseconds. This means you won't even notice when there is an outage. And with this setup, you can even leave all your electronics plugged directly into outlets. If you have the home power panel, you can also save money because you can program it to only recharge the battery from the grid during off-peak hours. And then during on-peak hours, it would use only the battery to power your home. But if you're like me and prefer a more simple solution, you can just use the AC outlets directly to plug your electronics right here and keep them running that way. What about those who are prone to extreme outages? Well, this is great because you got multiple layers of protection, right? For starters, the battery itself can last a long time, and you can get expansion packs. You could also recharge using solar panels if you have sun. If you don't have sun, then you can rely on 240 volt gas generators. And if you still can't keep the power running after that, maybe you got bigger things to worry about than keeping the electricity on. What about outdoor activities like camping? Well, if you're willing to take it around, you can. It won't be easy though, as this is just shy of 140 pounds. And though it has wheels and a handle, it ain't exactly like taking a suitcase through the airport. If you do decide to take this thing to your next camping trip though, you'll be camping in style, because this thing could power really anything, including kettles, electric pans, coffee makers, even projectors. If you want, you can go all out and get a TV out there, run your console, whatever you want, really. And this thing is actually pretty well built too. I'm not about to test that on something so expensive, but the wheels feel good, the body's solid, and I feel like it can handle a rough trip. So who is this for? I think the people who could benefit the most from it are those of us who live in places with extreme weather or natural disasters. We have common outages, right? So we could really need something like this during emergencies. Also, savvy homeowners who probably want a reliable power backup solution and long-term savings, so you could save money by getting one of these systems. Of course, we can't forget about those campers who want to camp in style with no limitations as to what they can and can't run. This can run almost any appliance. And of course, we can't forget about the RV owners. This thing has plugs to power the RV directly wherever you are. And that's a really nice benefit that you can get from this one. I really think the key point here is that when you need something like this the most, it's unforeseen and you can't predict it. The California wildfires really taught me the value of reliable power. And if you live in a place with severe weather, or common outages, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. And I think this is definitely something we should all have, at least if you can afford it. It helps that it can help you save money in the long term, but also if you want a nice deal right now, Anker SOLIX has one. If you buy one right now until March 31st, you can actually get exclusive gifts and benefits, including a free 400 watt solar panel, which is usually $8.99. You can get this offer from both the Anker SOLIX official website and Amazon.com. So let us know what you think about the Anker SOLIX F3800 Plus in the comments below. See you next time.